So I'm a huge proponent of using financial apps to help you after you create your zero-based budget. Once you kind of know your own budget and you have a sense of the numbers, the financial apps will make it even more crystal clear, but it also will keep you honest, right? And you don't necessarily have to use it all the time for your budgeting, but I think the tools that they have is really, really helpful for getting a clearer financial picture, like whether or not you're paying off your debt, whether or not you're spending too much on certain categories that you told yourself you weren't going to, whether or not you're investing well enough. So they're really great tools to augment the work that you already did when you created your zero-based budget. So let's talk about the top 4 personal finance apps that I think you need for budgeting. So 1 is Mint, 2 is You Need a Budget, 3 is Clarity Money, and 4 is Personal Capital. So we're going to go through each one of these apps, and I'm just going to give you kind of like a checklist of things you should do if you download the app. And so basically you try out all of these apps and see if you want to use it. If you don't want to use it, delete the app and call it a day. But I'm just going to give you like a checklist of what you should look for when you're using the app so that you're not kind of like looking around thinking, oh, how do I use this app to my best advantage? So first, let's go to Mint. So first you want to just link your credit and debit card, then go to the budgeting tool. You want to create a budget for each category of spending. So rent, groceries, gas, and fuel. Check weekly for how your spending is tracking. If you're under budget, you're winning. If you're over budget, you're losing. Check monthly all of your transactions and categories on the Transactions tab and the Trends tab to see how much you spend on each category a month and then adjust accordingly. So what I like about this is that Mint really gives you a bigger picture of your spending. So like once you create a budget for each category you have in your budget, you know what you're supposed to be doing. And then once you keep checking back, you can see how much like your spending is tracking. And then they also send you emails, and they're kind of annoying because they'll be like, oh, you overspent on, like typically for me, it's not groceries. It's you've overspent on eating out, or like you've overspent on travel. So it's really cool because it keeps you like honest. And then you can also see things that you're under budget so you can feel good about yourself too. And then I also like going to this Transactions tab and Trends tab. Trends to just kind of see how it's like trending, like how much money you really are spending, and also in each category. But the Transactions tab is gold because basically what you can do is like download the Excel sheet. And then what I did was I downloaded the Excel sheet and then filtered out for like all of my food purchases, like did the food category. You can filter by category. And that's how I realized that I was spending like, when I used to live in Austin, I was spending like at least like $500 a month on food. And I was just like, I mean, Austin, it makes sense because Austin is such a great food scene. But at the same time, it was like a wake up call. So I really highly encourage this because it's free too. And it's just a really good way to keep you honest with your budget. Next is You Need a Budget. So you can first create a budget for your loan, and then you can decide whether you want to pay down your loan over time, or if you want to pay down the entire balance at once. You go girl if you're doing that. And then if you're paying down your loan over time, decide whether you want to pay off your balance by a specific date or pay a specific amount each month until the balance is fully paid off. So I think this is really great and critical because we're going to talk about it in the paying off debt section, but you need to know your timeline of when you're paying off your debt. And so it kind of forces you like from the very beginning to think about that. So that's why I really like this tool. And so when you say, okay, I want to pay it off by the end of, next year. Okay, wow, I have 12 months to do that. How can I actually do that? How much money do I need to contribute to paying down that loan each month? It's really good because it gets you in that mentality. So decide your month and your year goal target. create budgets for other categories of spending, then check the snapshot and see if you are going to miss your budget for your loans during any time period. If you're going to miss your loan budget, move money from another spending category to your loan budget to get you back on track. So I really like this because it kind of thinks in a way where it's like it's focused on paying down your debt, and then you can create your budget categories. And then once you've created those budget categories, and then one month you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make my loan payment. Like, how can I actually make it anymore because I've overspent? And say you've overspent in clothing shopping, right? So you normally have a budget every month for $50 of clothing shopping. You had to buy more clothes because it was Black Friday and there was a 20% sale off. What are you going to do? You spent $150, let's say. So now you're $100 over budget. So you could basically, what you could do is that you could just, on that app, you can say, okay, I'm going to take $50 away from my travel budget and put it into paying down my debt budget. I'll take $50 from my eating out budget and put it to my paying down my debt budget because that's more of an important priority. So I really, really like that function because, again, it keeps you honest about paying down your debt and specifically that part of your budget, paying down the debt. Next is Clarity Money. So you want to link your credit and debit card again, peruse the insights about your spending habits, check the suggestions given to you about canceling any subscriptions, and then evaluate if you would like to save money by canceling any subscriptions. So what I like Clarity Money for is that they like come up with these insights and you're like, why are you being so insightful about my budget? I would rather you not be insightful, but in this case, it actually is really good. And I love their suggestions about canceling any subscription. So say you have your Netflix subscription. So it'll just like prompt you and it'll be like, oh, do you want me to cancel that for you? And it's like, oh, should I? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, that actually is nice that you're suggesting ways for me to save money. And you're looking at all my expenses and you're suggesting things that might be not that useful in my life that I'm paying for, which could be really, really good for, when you sign up for a subscription and it's a free trial for 30 days. That's how they get you. I can remember 7 days, but 30 days, and you sign up for a subscription and it's like 30 days. And then they charge you, and you've apparently been charged for like 3 months and you just haven't been looking at your bank account. Well, when you're using, obviously we know we need to be looking at our bank account on the regular. If not weekly, you should be looking at your at least weekly. But you know what? It's like actually cool because they'll be like, okay, do you really need that subscription? And then you can cancel it. So they'll catch that mistake. Last is Personal Capital. So you'll complete the tell us about yourself page. So they ask for your name, your age, the age you plan to retire, how much money you have saved already. And what I love about this is that they're asking you the age you plan to retire. And we know in our retirement planning section that we need to think about, in general, what age do I plan to retire? Because I need to know if I'm going to meet my financial goal. And then they want to know how much you've already saved because that's an important factor. And are you going to be anywhere near close in meeting your investment goals, particularly your retirement investment goals? So you want to link your debit and credit card. Then you can also link your investment accounts, and you can also link other assets like your home or your car. And Personal Capital is great for this. So you can check your net worth regularly. So you can do it daily, you can do it weekly, you can do it monthly. And then you can also check your retirement savings regularly. So daily, weekly, monthly. And then there's also this section called the Market Movers section, where you can see how the stock market and bond market are doing. So it'll give you, if you don't have a great knowledge of the investment world, it'll give you kind of a sneak peek into it with some of their articles where they give you great investing advice. So not only are you kind of seeing how the markets are moving every day, so you can understand, oh, is the stock market going up? Whatever. Like just basic understanding of that is actually super important. And then how's the bond market doing, right? So it's a great kind of intro into investing in general. But again, what I love about this is that it's so focused on your investing budget, right? Like, and it gets to what we're going to talk in the bonus section about savings to investing. Like, oh, am I actually meeting my investment goals each week? Because you should have investment goals. Am I tracking to how much money I should have in my retirement accounts? And then the tracking of the net worth is brilliant. That's why I really, really like it. I know how my 401k is doing. I know, I go on Fidelity, weekly to see how my retirement account is doing. But net worth is such a cool thing because, like, sometimes we don't really think about even tracking that in some senses, unless you're like a financial nut in some senses, which I guess I am because I do like thinking about it and I have a spreadsheet for it. But it's really cool because they do it in real time. So, like, every day you can check what your net worth is. And we have a whole section about net worth, and we know how important it is in terms of a measurement of your financial health and your financial wealth. So personal capital is just a really easy way for you to always have a pulse on what your net worth is.